America. I'm Erick Erickson. It's December 1st. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. As we head into December now, these are the four things you need to know this afternoon. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is barnstorming Europe. He wants security guarantees as part of the peace deal. He's doing this campaign blitz, trying to rally European leaders to his side, essentially saying that they and these European leaders and the United States will protect Ukraine should he cede territory to Russia, allowing Russia to amass troops even in territory they haven't yet conquered. Although this comes as word is that the Ukrainian forces, are exhausted. They're starting to recruit younger citizens from Ukraine, including what could be classified as teens, to go fight. That's never a good sign when a country is doing that. They really are getting exhausted. They're ready for a war to come to an end. They want the security guarantees. Lindsey Graham, who long proposed that Ukraine join NATO, is now saying he doesn't want the United States involved in security guarantees for Ukraine. That just throws a monkey wrench into this if he can't get past the United States Congress, something the president wants to do to get this deal done. But also, can Ukraine trust the word of the United States? That's going to be an issue that's going to have to be decided by the Ukrainians. What if Vladimir Putin reinvades? What are the consequences? Would we maintain the security guarantees? And would Europe maintain the security guarantees? It's all a messy process. It's all got to be put in writing. And notably, it continues to be Steve Witkoff leading this. There's growing distrust in the U.S. Senate and the U.S. House and among European leaders about Witkoff's involvement. We'll see how it shapes up. Tomorrow is the Tennessee special election for the 7th Congressional District. That's the Nashville area. It's an area that Donald Trump won by 22 points in 2024. It's a very, very Republican area. And yet Afton Bend, the Democrat, is within 2 points of Matt Van Up's, the Republican. Now, maybe the polling is wrong, but the polling averages have been pretty consistent that this race is very close, and that's a warning sign for the GOP. Why? Because if Donald Trump won it by 22 points and Republicans overwhelmingly favor the area, it shouldn't be close unless the voter antagonism towards the Trump administration is running over beyond what polling shows. Right now, there's about an 85-86% loyalty for President Trump and favorability within the GOP. But oftentimes voters will tell pollsters that, even though they themselves are privately disgruntled. Matt Van Up's should be running away with this race. Notably, he's running ads totally focused on Afton Bend. Nothing about Donald Trump. In an area where Donald Trump got 22% of the vote, you would think that Matt Van Epps would be wrapping himself around Donald Trump. It's not happening. This is the same strategy Democrats deployed in 2022, where they never ran with pictures of Joe Biden. They ran against how out of touch the Republicans were. It was a defensive strategy that worked for Democrats, and this is probably the roadmap for the GOP headed into the midterms, a test case in an area where Republicans should not be on defensive at all. Now, I expect the Republican to win. But if it is within a 5-point race, that's a terrible sign for the GOP headed into the midterms. They're going to have to seriously think about their strategy moving forward, even though they'll spin it as a victory. If it's a victory, they get the right to do that. But it shouldn't be close. We'll see what it actually is tomorrow. Keep your eye on Tennessee tomorrow. The president's team announced the president had a preventative MRI in October and that he's perfectly normal. Now, members of the media they freaked out way more about this than they ever did Joe Biden's health. But what his doctor says is that his age, he is headed to 80. They wanted to check and make sure his heart and organs were fine. And everything they say is fine. There's nothing to worry about. They said it was just something they wanted to make sure, heart and everything else functioning normally. The MRI was fine. The media, of course, loves to sensationalize these things, particularly about President Trump, to compensate for the fact they didn't do it for Joe Biden. But there's really no story there. It's just suddenly big news because presidents and preventative MRIs, it's not typically something that happens. At his age, it's wise. Remember, the White House never even dealt with Joe Biden's prostate cancer when he was president, and the media gave him a pass on all of it. Donald Trump, if nothing else, is disclosing way more. Lastly, a federal appeals court said Monday, Alina Haba, how about that? Has been serving unlawfully as the U.S. attorney in New Jersey. The Democrats are beside themselves with feeling like there's victory here, but it really has nothing to do with the Democrats here. It's just the White House screwed up the confirmation process. Under federal law, if a U.S. attorney can serve in an acting role for a number of days, I think it's 120 days, and the president within that time has to appoint someone else, or get someone confirmed by Congress. If not, the federal judges in the area get to pick the U.S. attorney. And, well, they let her term run longer than it should have run. They didn't have anybody waiting in the wings, and the confirmation process for her went nowhere because, well, Congress never wanted to confirm her. This has all been a huge blunder by the appointments team at the White House, and I would note that they cut Leonard Leo out of the process of handling these things with judges and with U.S. attorneys, and the White House has been blundering ever since. There are too many vacancies within the federal judiciary right now that are not being filled, that are outstanding. Too many U.S. attorney vacancies as well. They convinced the President of the United States that Leonard Leo and the Federalist Society were the bad guys, and now they can't find anybody to fill these roles. Leonard Leo, say what you want about him, but he was highly competent and a great operator getting people through congressional confirmations in ways others have not, and the current team is bungling the whole process. We should not have, in the run-up to midterms, as many open federal judicial seats and U.S. attorney seats as we have, and the fact now that this White House has twice now screwed up U.S. attorney appointments is a damning indictment on the team, not the president, but the team in charge of these things for the president. They're making him look bad, and they're the ones who are operating incompetently and, in fact, are opening the floodgates to improper indictments being charged because the U.S. attorney signing off on them is not actually the U.S. attorney, according to federal judges. It's just bungling incompetence from the confirmations team at the White House. These are the 4 things you need to know this afternoon. I am Erick Erickson. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. You can play Christmas music now. You can put your Christmas lights up. You're allowed to do it all now by law, by God. And you guys have a great rest of the day.